to the Tempe Public Library for a performance of The Golden Years by our Under the Sun theatrical readers. My name is Jill. I'm the adult programming librarian and now an Under the Sun member, for tonight at least. I have evaluation forms on the table on the side over there, so after the performance, if you wouldn't mind filling it out, it helps me to know if we're on the right track as far as our programming or if we need to reevaluate what we're doing. After the performance, we also will have refreshments, so don't run away too soon. And what I'm going to do now is turn it over to our director, Karen, to fill you in a little bit more about the group and tonight's show. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you. I want to welcome everybody for coming. We're so excited to do this performance tonight. The Readers Theater started several years ago, and it's a grant. It started through a grant from the Tempe Library, and it's open to anyone 50 years or older who would like to try to learn how to act, or if you have experience, we learn on each other's experience, and we're always looking for new people. We work on script study and character development, things like that, and it's fun. You learn to move out of yourself into someone else. Our group wants to thank Jill and the public and the Tempe Library. Without their assistance, encouragement, and sponsorship, this program would have gone down the drain, so we totally appreciate that. This evening, we're going to do two short plays. We will have a 5-minute break in between so that we can hurry up and change the scenery a little bit. And our first play is called Faced Spinsters, and it takes place in the Deep South during the Deep Depression. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Give it a clap. There we go.
More tea, Mr. Jones, Mr. Holmes?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Nothing better than sweet tea and vinegar pie.
Lila, ask Miss Gwynn for another pitcher of tea.
So how are things over at the newspaper?
Oh, same as usual. There's no news in a town where nothing ever happens. If only I hadn't been my uncle's favorite, saddled with his awful inheritance. I'd be at some big city paper right now.
Oh, Hetty, you won't believe what I just heard.
Now stop that carrying on. Now, you know excitement isn't good for you.
Oh, I swan, my head is cemented.
Now sit down and just tell me what on earth happened.
Oh, it can't be true. It just makes no sense.
Well, what is it? Is somebody hurt? Did somebody pass on?
No, nothing like that.
Anything for the paper?
Well, I know I heard Mrs. Gwynn and Miss Rose talking.
Is Miss Rose having another one of her sick headaches? Sometimes she doesn't come out of her room for days.
No, listen, Mrs. Gwynn said, Opal, I need you to help me break the news. And Miss Rose said, are you sure you're doing the right thing? And Mrs. Gwynn said, Euphorbia needs all the kindness we can give her now that she's losing her home.
No.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll be.
I heard the plainest day.
My goodness, the Ames family home. I can't imagine that.
Poor Miss Ames, she must be heartbroken.
She better not be moving in here.
Really, Mr. Holmes? So, show some charity.
Share this table with Euphorbia Ames, the flag bearer of Southern womanhood. I'm losing my appetite already.
Marvin, have you heard any more about foreclosures?
Now you know I can't talk about that.
You mean the Ames place?
Well, is there any danger that Euphorbia could lose it?
Well, I'm sure we don't hold a note on that property.
Well, if it's true, it couldn't happen to a more deserving person.
Well, Grandma's for shame.
It wouldn't hurt her to be knocked down a peg or two.
Oh, she is just a mite outspoken.
Opinionated and judgmental.
She doesn't mean any harm, bless her heart.
She honest as the day is long.
Oh, nonsense. She's a sharp-tongued harpy, and you know it.
Well, I wonder what happened to that pie.
Are you certain your bank doesn't hold a mortgage on the Ames place?
I'm sure. It's funny, though.
Well, out with it.
Well, I heard she's been trying to sell her father's roll-top desk. Heavens! Has she been reduced to that? Well, it's what I heard at the barber shop. And that's not all. Well, maybe I shouldn't say anymore.
Come on,
Come on. Quit being so mysterious.
You know I don't like to repeat gossip.
Of course.
Naturally.
Oh, go on.
Well, I heard she's been seen in Richmond coming out of a pawn shop.
Lord have mercy. Saints preserve us.
This vinegar pie is Miss Gwen's special recipe. Tastes just like lemon meringue.
Honestly, isn't she just as nice as all get out? She never puts on airs, even if she is from Richmond. Why, I could just eat her up with a spoon.
Who said Miss Ames wanted to sell the desk?
Well, I heard it while I was getting my hair cut. Don't remember who said it.
She should put an ad in the Chronicle. It doesn't cost that much.
Well, you know they were always careful with money.
True, old man Ames was a real skinflint.
I swear to goodness, Grant, you used to be so polite before you started wandering all over the country.
Oh, I was only here a few summers when I was a boy. Anyway, I'm just calling a spade a spade. So what do you think, Marvin?
Well, Mr. Ames should have left plenty. I don't think he invested in the stock market before the crash.
I've been telling Opal that I've had some news. It seems that your phobia Ames may have fallen on hard.
Well, she was seen at the pawn shop.
Marvin, let her speak.
Yes, ma'am.
I've heard that she may not be able to hold on to her family property. And I thought I'd ask her to join us here.
Well, it's the Christian thing to do.
Bless her heart. I suppose I could start eating at the cafe.
It would mean some adjustments for all of us.
That's putting it mildly.
Or maybe I could learn to cook.
Are you sure things have gone that far?
Miss Ames hasn't said anything herself, of course.
Oh, she'd be mortified.
God love her.
But what makes you think it's true?
Her housekeeper went and got a job in Essex County. And your phobia stuck over to the bar, really, pal.
No, I hear she's been there every Tuesday since she was a girl.
Every Tuesday without fail.
Rain or shine.
Come hell or high water.
But Miss
Spit the hall.
Oh, shame.
You hush now.
Well, couldn't she get a job or something?
Opal and I talked about that.
She's led a rather sheltered life.
But she is well educated. Maybe she could teach.
She's good at giving orders.
I don't think teaching is an option at her age.
What about marriage?
No. God heavens, Lila. Do you have the sense you were born with?
We still don't know the facts.
Where would you put her?
Well, I suppose I could move up to the attic. I've always thought of renovating it.
Well, would she even be able to pay room and board?
Maybe we're putting the cart before the horse. And before you say anything, Miss Hetty, I am aware that it's a cliche.
How did y'all like the dessert?
Well, it is interesting. I've never tried it before.
I ran out of soda crackers for my apple pie, so I brought out my old family recipe.
It's delicious. Did you use cider vinegar?
Excuse me, ladies, but could the recipe exchange wait?
Mr. Holmes.
Right, Eddie. There are more important things to discuss.
Yeah, like whether Grant and I will be eating at the cafe or learning to cook.
I don't want to lose any of you, but I do have a Christian duty.
Why you? Can't someone else take the old battle axe?
Oh.
I'm sure Kate would welcome any constructive suggestions you may have.
Maybe it's all for the best. If this can help Euphorbia overcome her pride, remember how she had to be the star in every school play?
Oh, don't be so naive. People don't change overnight.
What, Hetty?
I keep trying to tell you. It's time you got your head out of the clouds, After what that woman did to you. Oh, I don't know what came over me. Excuse me.
Oh, dear. I've never seen them like this.
Euphorbia baits people and sets them against each other every chance she gets. This has probably been brewing for a while.
But why is Lila so upset? Did Euphorbia do something I don't know about?
Back in high school, she and Jake the barber were sweethearts.
Euphorbia and Jake?
Well, first Lila and Jake went steady senior year.
Then Euphorbia and Jake starred together in Uncle Vanya, and it looked like they would end up married.
Fortunately for him, the war came along and he joined up. Best decision he ever made.
And that must have been when Lila went off to work in that factory in Baltimore.
In any case, we don't know for sure that Miss Ames could actually end up living here.
Mr. Holmes has a point. We don't have all the facts.
That's true. I'll ask her to come over for a chat tomorrow afternoon. Would anyone like a second piece of pie?
Well, I'd like one, thanks.
Same here.
Opal, won't you have another slice?
No, thank you. It was delicious, but I seem to have lost my appetite.
I'll go boil some water for some post soup.
I'll help you.
I don't want to lose Granton Marvin. I don't charge them much for their meals, but it's enough to keep my head above water.
Is Euphorbia Ames really that bad? I don't know her all that well.
I try to find the good in everyone, but with Euphorbia, it's a real challenge. But if I don't take her, who will?
Say, Grant, is it true you have real coffee over at that newspaper?
That's right, it's an employee benefit.
But you're the only employee. Say, if you throw in meals, I'll work for you. None of us want to see Euphorbia Ames moving in here. There must be something we can do.
I'll tell you what, the day she moves in, I'll bring the coffee and you can get the arsenic.
Maybe you could teach Miss Ames to run the line tap.
Very funny. The last place the town gossip should be is at the newspaper.
Excuse me, everyone. I'm not feeling well. I believe I'll retire.
Oh,
Take care now.
See you later.
Rest.
See you later.
Bless her heart, she suffers so with those headaches and never utters a word of complaint. And she's so kind.
Not like Euphorbia with her barbed tongue. She tore me up one side and down the other for a little spelling error last month.
Those two are like night and day.
Chalk and cheese.
Now, if that don't beat all, aren't you just a one?
Now she can't help she was raised up yonder.
She spent every summer with us her whole life, and she still has that accent. You know, Euphorbia and Miss Rose look enough alike to be cousins.
Well, that takes the rag off the bush. They sure enough do.
Well, how do you mean? I don't see any resemblance.
Euphorbia's much taller.
That's right. Opal's no bigger than a minute.
But they both have that Grecian nose.
Euphorbia was always proud as a peacock about that nose of hers.
The better to look down at you will. Yes, Miss Hetty, dangling conjunction.
Preposition. But surely, if they were related, one of them would have said something.
That's right. I don't think Euphorbia has any people over in Richmond. Well, I'll find out more tomorrow.
Right from the horse's mouth.
Somebody warned me if she stays for supper.
Mr. Grant, didn't you say you had some shirts that need buttons?
That's right, I'll bring them tomorrow and I'll settle up for the other alterations at the same time.
For heaven's sake, that's the most outrageous thing I've ever heard. Where on earth did you get such a ridiculous idea?
Now, I was only trying to help.
Your intentions are very kind, but I assure you I'm perfectly fine. I have no financial problems whatsoever.
I'm relieved to hear it. Would you like another cookie? Uncle Rose made them.
That Richmond woman who tries to dress like a butterfly?
Do you know her?
No, I've just seen her around town. A ridiculous woman.
Everybody likes Miss Opal. She's just as nice as the day is long. You'll never take her for a city girl.
Except for the way she dresses.
It's a shame she had one of her sick headaches again. I could have asked her to join us.
No need. I must be off. I have a group at the church setting up tonight's covered dish, and they're simply helpless without me. Not the sharpest tools in the shed. I'll probably have to redo everything.
Well, I won't keep you then. I'm just thrilled to pieces that everything's all right.
Of course. I do hope this hasn't gotten all over town. Gossip can be like a wildfire once it's started.
You're right. Gossip can be a terrible thing. It can destroy lives.
Indeed. Well, thank you again for your concern and for the tea. I'll let myself out.
For heaven's sake, what are you two doing there?
We snuck in through the back door so we could hear.
It was all Lila's idea. I just came down to make sure she stayed quiet.
Then I suppose you know that it was all a tempest in a teapot.
Do you believe her? Maybe she was just trying to keep up appearances.
It would be just like her to do that.
I believe her. There's no reason not to.
I have to admit that it is a relief.
For Euphorbia's sake, of course.
Of course.
The men will be pleased to hear the news, but we still don't know why she made all those changes recently.
It's just not normal. People just don't up and act different all of a sudden.
Well, I moved hundreds of miles just to stretch my pension. And look at Miss Rose. She picked up and left her old life, too.
Oh, well, bless your heart. I didn't mean anything by it. It's just not usual is all. Well, Oprah must be feeling about better.
Well, I could have sworn that was the radio.
You'd be relieved to know that Miss Ames said everything is just fine and she has no financial worries at all.
Well, what's the good news?
We're safe. It must have been some misunderstanding.
Listen, Hetty, isn't that the piece Euphorbia always played?
Yes, Nocturne by Chopin.
Grant, honey, you go snatch Miss Oprah from that piano.
I see you've heard the good news.
You're looking mighty chipper. No more headache?
I found a special remedy. I don't think I'll have that problem anymore. In fact, I may be well enough to start giving piano lessons soon.
Oh. I'll start the presses right after supper. I couldn't wait to find out the news about Miss Ames.
It's a blessing to know that she won't be losing her home.
Amen to that.
I declare, Mr. Holmes, if you don't make even the simplest thing, then what's blasphemy?
Miss Kate, may I see Grace today?
Why, certainly, sugar. Bless your heart.
Gracious and all-merciful Heavenly Creator, thank you for bringing us all together around the table today. Bless this food to nourish our bodies that we may do your work in love and sincerity. Amen.
Amen. What on earth? Excuse me, everyone. It must be an emergency. Everyone knows not to call me at supper time. Winston 898. Oh, Pastor, how? Pardon? Why, no. She left me at. Eddie, what time do you think Miss Ames left?
I think it was 10 after 5.
About 10 after 5. I don't know what to tell you, hon. Has this ever happened before? Well, maybe she just felt poorly and went on home. Oh, you did? You found what? Honest to goodness? I just don't know. All right, you let me know if you hear anything. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Goodbye.
What happened?
My land, the strangest thing.
Well, what is
Is
it?
something wrong?
Yeah.
Pastor Nelson said Miss Ames never showed up for the church company.
Oh, wow.
There's no sign of her at her house. He even went inside in the place. Oh, merciful heavens!
What did he find? A body?
No. The place was practically empty. Most of the furniture was gone, except for that roll top desk. The icebox was bare, nothing in the cupboards. He said it looked like no one lived there in a while.
Oh my, now how can that be? I saw her at church just on Sunday.
That's right. And didn't we see her at the mercantile on Wednesday when I needed more brown thread?
And she was just at the bank this morning.
This is ridiculous. We don't need to know where she was before 5. We have to find out where she's been since then.
Well, couldn't there be any other explanation for an empty house? I mean, maybe she's staying with friends.
That woman has no friends.
Well, I'm afraid
Hasn't
that's
for
so.
years.
That's so. The church ladies just tolerate her out of Christian duty.
Poor lonely woman.
Bless your dear heart. If you knew her the way we do, well, sometimes she could try to sing.
Oh, blast it. Pardon my French. Ladies, I need to go right back and start the presses. Any dessert, Mrs. G?
If you wait, I'll cut the pound cake. Otherwise, there's some cookies on the counter.
Thanks for dinner. I'll take some cookies.
It's just strange.
It sure is. I've never known Euphorbia to go anywhere for long. Ever since her daddy refused to send her to that music conservatory.
But she was seen in Richmond.
Well, Richmond, everybody goes there. You can't buy everything at the mercantile.
I'm sure there's a simple explanation for it all.
Do you suppose the minister has told the sheriff?
He probably heard about it the minute Miss Gwynn hung up the phone.
Those girls over at the exchange are a caution. But how do you know that, Opal? Is it that way in Richmond, too?
But you wouldn't think so, but city folk aren't all that different.
Oh, Marvin, before you go, could you please take the trash to the incinerator?
Oh, let me do that, Miss Gwynn. I hardly lift a finger around
No,
here.
honey, it's too heavy for you. Why don't you just stay here and relax?
Marvin, what is that?
Marvin, what
Is that Euphorbia's?
Just let me.
What is that?
Is there blood on
Are
it?
you sure it's hers?
I'm positive.
Let me just.
Go ahead and open it.
She's dead! Lord have mercy!
Now, don't take on so. It's just clothes.
Clothes that belong to Euphorbia Ames.
It was stuffed in the incinerator. It's dark in that side yard shadowed by the back stairway.
The ones leading to Miss Opal's room. She has 2 entrances.
Why do you find this suspicious?
Well, Miss Ames would not throw away perfectly good clothes.
And why would she throw them in our incinerator? She has her own.
Maybe she got on new clothes and didn't want them anymore.
Oh, she's been wearing that same thing practically every time we see her.
Maybe Mr. Holmes saw something when he went out. I'll call him.
Would he ever hear it over the sound of the press?
Yes, he has a special light installed to blink when it rings.
Have there been any strangers around?
Well, actually,
Grant, can you come back for a minute? We want to show you something. Yes, it's important. Can't you get someone else to watch the press? No, I really think you need to see it. All right, hon. You'll be right here.
But what if Grant did it? You know how much he hated her.
Oh, don't be silly. We've known Grant for years.
well, I did see a stranger today.
Somebody suspicious?
I didn't think so at the time, but he was in the bank president's office with Miss Ames.
What did he look like?
Ooh, thin, gray hair, wearing a nice suit, but his shirt and tie were old-fashioned.
Do you think he might have something to do with this?
Well, I don't know, but I could call my buddy Mike. He was in with him for a while. Maybe he knows the man.
I need to speak to you alone.
Do you know something about this?
Maybe, but it's a long story. Just don't make up your mind about anything until we had a chance to talk. Okay.
Mike, listen, sorry to bother you. I can't say right now, but I need to know who that man was with Euphorbia Ames today. Yeah, sure. I'll explain tomorrow. All right, Monday then. So who is he? Uh-huh. Oh, I see. Thanks. No, I can't tell you yet. I will, I promise. All right, bye.
Well, what did it say?
I'm not really supposed to tell you.
Oh, for crying in a bucket.
Please, Marvin.
All right, but don't tell anybody else until I say you can. So this is really big news, but nobody's supposed to know until the bank president gives his okay.
All right, go on.
Promise not to tell.
We promise.
The man, I forget his name, well, he represents the Tidewater Music Conservatory. Well, hold on to your hats now.
Marvin, just tell us.
Euphorbia Ames has donated her family home and most of her fortune for them to open a conservatory here.
So there's no reason for him to kill her.
And there's more. She said she was planning to travel to Europe and she'd be leaving right away.
But why all the secrecy about leaving?
She thought nobody would miss her.
Unfortunately, that's probably true. It's just a coincidence that Marvin found her clothes in that hat.
I still don't understand why she would have thrown them in our incinerator.
Does it matter?
Of course it matters. People don't just suddenly do something for no reason.
It still seems suspicious. I just don't think we can let it go. No matter what was thought of her, if there's any chance that something
Oh, my
has...
stars and garters! You people are enough to drive a body to destruction. Can't you just leave it alone?
Why, Opal, honey, that isn't like you.
Can it, Kate? I should have known I wouldn't get away with it. Euphorbia Ames just refused to be pushed aside. Marvin, hand me that damn hat. I'm Euphorbia Ames. I'll tell you everything. And when I'm finished, I just hope you'll keep my secret. I was trying to tell you I didn't want to be Euphorbia Ames anymore. I wanted to be liked and accepted. But by the time I tried to change, it was too late. I tried being nice, but it just seemed false. No one wanted to give me a chance. I didn't want to have to leave my hometown, so I decided that I would try a different identity. That's how I ended up moving in here last year as Opal Rose.
But your references.
Fake. I would have made an excellent criminal. I just made a few appearances as Miss Ames until I had everything arranged. Until yesterday, I thought I'd be able to cover my tracks. But after talking to Kate, I decided not to wait any longer. Anyway, I've enjoyed being Miss Rose, and I really grew into the role. You do like Opal, don't you?
Oh, very much, yes.
Then won't you please allow her to live in peace? Let Miss Ames go. No one will miss her.
She's right. No harm has been done. Can't we keep it a secret? But I don't understand. Why would you give up that big house and live in a small room?
Were you really that lonely?
It was no more than I deserved, but everything can be different now, can't it?
Well, no laws have been broken. But what will I tell Mike?
Just telling the spinsters we're hoping there was a new man in town.
Oh, Mr. Holmes sure would have liked that big scoop. Headline, woman with two faces.
He can have have the exclusive on the new conservatory, though. They've hired me to teach there. Mrs. Gwynn, may I use the phone? This is something I've always wanted to do. Mr. Holmes, this is Euphorbia Ames. Stop the presses.